Hello and welcome to another episode of Superman The Triangle Years, a video podcast series looking at Superman comics from 1991 to 2001. This episode will be looking at Superman number 53, cover date March 1991, and the story that followed it, the Time and Time Again storyline, a 7-part series in Superman comics. So we're going to be covering a lot today. I'm going to go through them pretty quick, and because it really is one big story here. So first of all, last episode we looked at Action Comics 667 or 662, where Clark reveals to Lois that he's Superman, and it was left off with a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger continues in Superman number 53 because we get to see Lois's reaction this issue. Superman number 53 has a fantastic cover by Jerry Ordway and art and story by Jerry Ordway. And this issue, the first 3 pages dealing with Lois's reaction, which is kind of what you would expect from a person. She needs some space and some time to think about this because she agreed to marry Clark Kent, and at that point she didn't know she would also be marrying Superman, and what does that mean? And he's been lying to her, so she's got to deal with that anger. So I kind of like that they didn't just have her go, okay, great, because at the time when reading this, I thought Clark's been lying to her for a while. Superman doesn't lie except for with his secret identity, right? But now she finds out that Clark and Superman were lying to her all this time. So Clark is asked by the U.S. government to escort the dictator, President Marlowe, back to the United States to stand trial for his war crimes. He was the dictator of the fictional country of Kurak, and they believe that people in his country are going to make attempts on his life. So we get some more story with Jose Delgado and Cat Grant's relationship. Superman flies off. One other subplot that moves forward this issue is the will for Lex Luthor's company. It's revealed that he did have a will and he left everything to a son that no one knew existed, and now they just need to find the son. So in this issue, Superman ends up flying alongside the plane, guarding the plane that's carrying President Marlowe as several attacks take place, and eventually one of them gets through and the plane is blown up. So he stops the people who attacked it, goes back to the Pentagon. They're upset. He failed. It's revealed that he didn't fail, that they actually had him guarding a decoy plane, and that Superman had uncovered that the Sons of Liberty, the secret group, were behind the attacks, and that one of the generals had known what was going on. So the next issue starts the Time and Time Again storyline. This is a 7-part storyline in Superman comics. Starts off in this issue, Adventures of Superman 476, when the Linear Man shows up in Metropolis looking for Booster Gold. And poor timing, Clark and Lois finally starting to talk about these things. Lois reveals she's concerned because what is Superman really? Is he immortal? Is he going to stay young as she grows older? What would their life be like together? And Linear Man gets Booster Gold to come to Metropolis. Here he's seen with his team at the time, the Conglomerate, getting a alarm from Skeets, his old partner. And we get a quick flashback of Booster Gold's origin in the 25th century. And when he gets back to Metropolis, he is attacked by the Linear Man. Superman flies off to or to help Booster, and in the process of the fight ends up getting sucked into a portal along with the Linear Man, a portal that was meant for Booster Gold. And Lois shows up. Where did he go? What happened? Booster really not having a good answer for her. So Superman wakes up, finds himself in the 30th century and not the 25th century, and ends up in a short team up with the Legion of Superheroes. And once they're convinced that he's Superman, he actually asks them, if you could do me a favor, can you tell me whatever happens to me? Do I end up living forever or not? And so the story continues in Action Comics 663 and through several Superman comics over the next couple months. It's an excellent story. This one's actually available in trade paperback. I don't know if the trade paperback's in print anymore, but I'm sure you can find used copies of it. And it's a lot of fun. It's not a very deep story. Superman keeps finding himself blown up, and every time he's near a big explosion, he ends up thrown through time again. Finds himself in the 1940s. Works briefly as a circus strongman, Samson, and also ends up saving FDR. Throughout the story, each issue has at least 1 or 2 pages dealing with the supporting cast of Superman and what's going on while he's away. So he flies off to, once he realizes that he could try getting help from the Justice Society, he flies off to do so, but the Spectre ends up stopping him and sending him where he is supposedly destined to be, and that is in Germany. So here we see him, actually he's in Warsaw, and has some confrontations with Nazis. They actually released a great poster at this time in the comic shops of Superman smashing a Nazi tank that was painted by Jerry Ordway. And here we have Superman's first encounter with Mr. Z this issue, or at least from Mr. Z's point of view. This would be Superman's actually second time encountering him. So one of the neat things in the storyline that they worked it that way, that the whole timeline works. Another team up with the Legion of Superheroes. We see that the Linear Man is actually trying to direct Superman's jumps in time to return him back to his own time. He ends up working with the Legion here against the Sun Eater. We've got Wildfire and got classic Legion lineup here. So another good issue against the Sun Eater with the Legion of Superheroes. Gets blasted again at the end of that one and finds himself in prehistoric times, where he plays a little Robinson Crusoe, grows his beard long, and ends up befriending some of the dinosaurs. Eventually he finds Kronos is also stranded in this prehistoric time, the time-traveling supervillain, and they end up working together to try and build a machine that'll take them back to the present. Kronos betrays Superman. The machine ends up blowing up, and Kronos is left stranded. Superman finds himself in, well, still in the prehistoric times, but a little further forward in time. So he goes, there was an alien race that was shortly living on Earth at this time, and they're leaving. He gets into the rocket blast, having figured out that these explosions are bouncing him in time. and again bounces himself forward to the time of Camelot. And one weird thing here is the colorist, whoever colored this book, made a big mistake on this last panel, it looks like. I don't know if it's supposed to be him in shadow, but it just looks weird with him in green and black. So, next issue, Superman teams up with the Demon. And that he does. So it's another good issue. Like I said, it's a good story arc. Finally ends in Adventures of Superman, issue 478. And this issue, the last issue, was a little disappointing for me because at the time I wasn't reading Legion of Superheroes, and this one tied very closely into the current Legion of Superheroes storyline. But we do eventually have Superman return to his own timeline, and unfortunately he is there as the moon gets destroyed, and it's that explosion that returns him to his timeline. And that the fallout of that ends up actually playing out in Legion of Superheroes. So here he is, returned to his time to go home. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Time and time again, it's a pretty epic storyline. Hope you enjoyed getting a peek at it. Definitely worth hunting down, and a good example of the titles at the time. Thank you. If you have any comments, please leave them. Subscribe. I'll be coming out with more episodes as I reread them.